I also just thought I'd put out some other little things of, hopefully I can put up both of our, basically our headshots as like the thumbnail and things like that, the ones that Joe has done, because Joe San Martin did both of our headshots.
Love Joe forever.
He's amazing.
Fantastic photographer and videographer, and does script writing and just an all-round talent. And I love my headshots. That's the first time I've ever gotten headshots done, and I was like, I don't know what to expect for this, and Joe just like took charge, literally placed me, because I was like, I suddenly don't know how to function as a human in front of a camera, because it's way different than your friends just taking a photo of you. And Joe was amazing. Joe, I would give my life to Joe.
She was amazing. She was just like, oh, your bra strap's showing. Let me just tuck that in. I was like, thank you.
I had my hand like in a fist against my face. She was like, let's just, and she like physically curled it back and softened it. And I was like, that's so good, because I thought I was already looking like, you know, the picture of elegance, clearly. So it
was so good and so amazing. And I'm so glad that we've both got that done and kind of advertise her. So if you're on the Gold Coast or Brisbane and you're looking for headshots, and just in that, I think those headshots have definitely helped me to look more professional on so many different things. And that's something that's really sort of helped me get some of these opportunities, as well as having an Instagram and things like that. And this is sort of like a side note sort of thing. And I'm sorry to bring this up, but like, Jamie, I love your Instagram. It's so beautiful.
Thanks.
And it's so pretty. And it's something that always gets me every time I sort of see it, because like I'm so close to hitting like 2,000. Like I'm so close to hitting those, like that 2K follower mark.
That's so amazing.
It's right there. But then I see your Instagram and you have so much engagement. And I love that. Every single post you post, you have like nearly like 100 likes. I'm like, how, like, for like having this smaller following, I have so many people who are so obsessed with your work, and I think that's really great. And I love that sort of more, because when I saw it, I was like, no, I need to be more like Jamie. I just need to have these people who are dedicated to watching things and reading things that I like and liking my posts. And I love that. I think that's so good.
Stop, you're making me blush. No, that Instagram account, I made it a couple of years ago because, I mean, I did my double degrees. I did like a corporate degree and I did my arts degree, and I made it on the basis of I needed my creative degree was ending before my corporate degree. And I was like, I need an outlet. Otherwise, I'm going to turn into a little corporate robot. And I need to stay connected in some way, shape or form. And so I started that little Instagram, and with the premise that I didn't really care. I was just going to post what I wanted when I wanted. I wasn't going to pay too much attention to it. I've been slack the past couple months, but that's fine. 2025 New Year's resolution, we're going to get hardcore into it again. And I don't know, I've been amazed too. I'm like, damn, hell yeah. But I think things that's helped that out is like I did my creative residency with Why Not, and we do collaborative posts, and they've got thousands of more followers than what I do, I think. And so it comes up on both of our feeds, and so there's that connection there as well. And that really helped out on that side of things. I actually got heaps of engagement, I noticed, when you post every day. And have you heard of Escape Roll?
No.
Oh my God. You have to do it. I've never completed an escape roll. So it's April, and it's a writing challenge month, and it's like every day for the month of April you're meant to write to these little themes. It can be shorter as long as you want. It can be poetry, prose, whatever you want it to be. And I've tried to finish it for like 3 years now, and I never get through it. Life gets too busy, but it's epic. And because there's so many people, like there's this whole online community participating in it, and you use the hashtags that they provide and you tag the accounts that they tell you to tag. And my engagement in that month was like, whoa, it was amazing. 10 out of 10 recommend. It's so much fun. I'm on a mission. This is the month I'm going to finish an escape roll. We're going to get right through.
That's a bit like Ink October, and I was one for artists, where you like do a little ink drawing to a prompt every day of October. And then that also reminds me of NaNoWriMo a little bit too.
Yes. NaNoWriMo.
So good.
I've never
So
completed a NaNoWriMo either.
I did it once. Yes.
Wow, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
It's actually
it's
quite an effort.
Yeah. It's the National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo. And it's sort of like for the month of November, you try and get 50,000 words out. And it's sort of got a bit of like a calculator on the website online. And again, you can like advertise it and things like that and find people through it. I haven't really done that so much, but just, and you can access the website for free as well. I do have like my books up there sometimes and I'm like plug in my little word calculator just to feel good about myself. I'm like, yeah, I did this many words.
Something so nice about a word count when you see it grow. I get a real sense of accomplishment in that. I haven't written anything novel length since I was like 16, and oh god, that's getting closer to 10 years ago. We're getting old. But I've started, my New Year's resolution is to like write a novel length story. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna use NaNoWriMo. I've decided it's gonna help me get there.
I would love to read it.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, cool. Should we move on to your writer's holy grail?
Yeah, sure.
Just to go through that a bit, just because I am a little conscious of time. And
oh, don't be stressed. I'll let you know when I've got to jump off.
Okay, cool.
Wow, there's so much here. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. Do you want me to just launch into it?
Go for it.
Okay, cool. So I feel like the biggest thing I've realized in being a writer, and then being a writer who's a part of an online community through Instagram, is there is so much out there, so much, and it is overwhelming how much you find. And there are so many specific publications and online zines and everything like that that are tailored to what you want. That we did the Writers Holy Grail, yourself and I, and that was pretty much basically a collation of all the ones that I at least knew of and interacted with a lot. And just, yeah, this is such a document. Oh my God. So the Lovers Lit Journal, it was paying $10 a contributor. Poetry, creative, non-fiction, fiction, flash fiction, art. Really cool. Oh my God. Okay, Going Down Swinging is the next publication that we've got listed here, and it is really cool. I've never submitted to it, but I read everything that they put out, and it's really cool. So it publishes fiction, creative nonfiction, experimental, hybrid work, digital and interactive literature, poetry, comics, artworks, spoken word, essays, illustrations. They're really cool. I would encourage anyone and everyone to follow them. And it's open to anybody worldwide. Jacaranda Journal for UQ. We mentioned this one earlier. So Jacaranda, it's a university magazine, but it's not exclusive to UQ, and it's not exclusive to Queensland. So anyone in Australia can, I don't know, maybe anyone in the world? Anyone, anyway. I'm fairly certain it's not limited to UQ students anyway. Anyone can submit to it. And Jacaranda is a really cool journal. They, as far as I'm aware, they don't pay. They are a small publication, but the stuff that they publish is really cool and very high quality. I would recommend that to anyone.
And just having those publications is really incredible, because I know so many people talk about how you need so many publications before sometimes different residencies or grants or fellowships will consider you for their program and things like that. So just trying to get all those different publications out as you can, and as many as you can, is really good.
Yeah, and it's good because, it connects you with people, the I don't know, it is just a really cool world to break into, and that rush you get when you find out you've been published in something is untouched. It's an amazing feeling.
It is.
It's so good. And yeah, this whole document, it's got so many. I might, instead of running through them all because there are so many, I might just run through my favorites. Literary Journal, is really cool as well. It's limited to Australian writers. There is Kill Your Darlings is a major literary journal here in Australia. I feel like it's open worldwide. They don't so much publish poetry and fiction, but more so that memoir, essays, reviews, non-fiction. It's more based. They also do the New Australian Fiction Anthology, which is sort of a competition that you can enter into. And then it's like a major publication in the shelves at Dymocks type anthology that you can be published in. It's really cool. I haven't cracked Kill Your Darlings yet, but try. We shall see.
Yeah, I tried years ago, and that was when I was at this this really silly point where I was like starting uni and everything like that. And I had all these publications, like all these written pieces for uni and things like that. And I was like, yes, let's go to Kill Your Darlings first and Griffith's Review, all the really big ones. But I was like, yeah, let's go there, because these are pieces that I really like. We'll submit to those first, and then if they don't get in there, then I'll submit them to like Glass and ScratchThat and things like that, which made sense in my head at that time. But I still didn't have the quality of work yet, or the understanding and like the editorial guidance that ScratchThat and Glass and like these smaller publications would give me before I went on to there.
Yeah. Don't worry, I've done that. I've been there. Don't you worry. I think we all just get ambitious, and I think too the smaller publications, not that they're easier to get into, but they're a lot more accessible. Can be harder to find if you'd like, for example, if I didn't go to uni, I wouldn't have heard of Glass or ScratchThat, and I wouldn't have known uni mags existed. I would have only known of what I've seen on Instagram, and which is a great resource for anyone looking for anything. But I think that's why I feel like you gravitate towards the big ones too, because you're like, that's all you know. But I think for anyone who's looking to be published in like Kill Your Darlings, for example, and there's a few in there that I'll mention that are like big league sort of type ones, is read the magazine before you try and submit. And I would read more than one copy if you can, understanding that subscriptions can cost a lot, and there are some financial constraints there, but it does really help when you understand the type of content that they are looking to publish. It can make a really big difference, and you never know, it might inspire you to do something a little bit experimental or something, something cool.
I definitely recommend submitting to all those ones and things like this, and there might be like a hard sort of take a little bit, because it's so good, and I definitely recommend like submitting to these things. But sometimes it is so disheartening when you submit to one of the major leagues magazines sort of thing, and then you see that every single publication that they published was by a published author who has multiple books out, and it's just like, I cannot compete with that level right now.
I think sorry to cut you off. I think there is a power in being realistic with your quality that you're putting out. I think back to 12-year-old Jamie. Obviously that stuff was not going to get published in a magazine like Kill Your Darlings or Meanjin or Westerly or Veranda or any of those, or The Island. But then when I hit 17, and the stuff I was writing, I was really proud of, and and you sort of finish school and you are a good writer, and everyone tells you you're a good writer, and you believe in that, and that's great. But there is an understanding and knowing that the type of stuff that some of those magazines publish, you're not there yet, and that's okay. You got to work to get there. You're going to go through multiple rejections. You're going to go through like hundreds of hours of editing with other people, with yourself. I feel like you sort of have to ride out that process, because it does make you a better writer, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree. And sometimes it is the names help sort of thing, and you need to build up your own name and have these little publications and stuff like that, because and just publications in general, because it does show that like I have worked with editors before, I understand that process. Like I'm not going to be horrible and just say no to everything that you ask me to change or anything like that. Like it's a,
That's it.
and you learn and you go through these different things. But yeah. It's interesting.
Gives you a good sense of the caliber that they're working with and what you can aspire to, I think. But yeah, really cool. Aniko Press, I don't think they've put out anything in the last year. However, they are a really, really cool magazine. They're open to Australian international writers. They do pay. Their submissions are on an announcement basis. I would encourage anyone to go follow them, read them. They do a what's the word I'm looking for? Oh no, it's completely left me.
That's so good. They do. Like
it's a competition. It's a little baby competition that they run. They run it biannually, like a short prose, under 100 words. What's the word I'm thinking of? Clearly, it's left my brain.
Sorry, I got distracted by. I hope you guys can't hear the dog too much. Like he's going off a little bit.
He's all good. He's just living his best puppy life.
Yeah.
Cool. The Suburban Review is another major one. Same with Westerly Magazine. I also mentioned before when I ran off a couple in a bit of a spiel was Island. Island is based in Tasmania. It's open to Australia and international, I think, but definitely Australian authors. And it's really cool. You can buy it from your newsagents. It was the first literary magazine I ever got my hands on, and the stuff they publish is really worthwhile reading. And I think, similar to what we just discussed then, it's worthwhile looking at that and knowing, gives you an idea of the quality. Other cool ones, Blue Bottle Poetry.
Oh
yeah, brilliant. Publish some amazing poetry. They don't pay as far as I'm aware, but they are really, 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 really worthwhile. Excellent stuff. Meanjin is another major literary magazine. It does quarterly print, pays 30 cents a word, I think, and it's Australia-wide. Overland is another major one.
I saw you had Swim Meet Lit Mag as well, which is really cool. I've met Svetlana Sterling before, and she's so lovely. Yeah.
Split Lip. Do they run
She's just had a book. So she's just had her book published through the that big competition that was in Sydney. So that's so cool. I'm slowly reading that.
That's so cool. They have a great, they do a beautiful, they have a beautiful platform. The caliber of work they publish is really exciting, I think. 10 out of 10. I can't believe I was going to leave them off. No, Split Lit, we love.
And there's so many, I know Swimlit especially does on the stories and everything like that, it'll advertise all the different submissions coming out and different competitions and things so even just following some of these magazines and things, they'll often advertise what else is happening. And you also advertise what else is happening too. I love your Instagram for that.
So I try when I look at it and I see it pop up, I'm like, yes, share. It's important because I often think I probably won't get my act together to submit, but someone else will.
Yeah. It's always that.
Yeah, cool. What else have we got? We mentioned Voiceworks. ScratchThat if you're a QUT student, which, I mean, they're open to any Brisbane writers, aren't they? Or is it just students at QUT?
I think it might just be students at QUT, but
yeah, but it's a great magazine. They do such a good job, and I love that it's a student run thing. That's so cool for me. Yeah. We mentioned Glass. Another one of my favorites is Mascara Review, which publishes biannually. They do some really cool stuff. I'll also just note too, for anyone who like isn't into writing fiction or poetry or prose, book reviews and reviews in general are really popular and a really good way to, if you want to get into that publishing side, do your reviews, because heaps of magazines are calling out for them at the moment. They're so cool. Overland is a cool one.
Send books too, potentially.
It's exactly.
Way to get in.
Overland is cool. Who would I be if I didn't mention Why Not? Love Why Not.
Yeah.
They're taking a bit of a change, I think, this year. They were focusing on so it's open to people who are under 30, so 16 to 30-year-olds. It was taking sort of anything, and now I think they're moving towards a focus of anything that speaks out again, like on social change or lived experiences. And some of the stuff, like I've got the immense privilege of being the poetry editor for Why Not, and the stuff they put out is so cool. Some of the poems I get to edit, it's like such an honor, because we get pieces from all over the world, speaking to these crazy experiences that I would have had no clue about. I think it's really broadened my own horizons just from, sitting at my desk. So it's really cool. We love Why Not, and they pay fairly well. If you're a creative resident, it's $250 a piece, and I think it's $150 at the time of this recording for like fully blown submissions, which is basically a longer form of prose that they do. So what else have we got? I mentioned Ireland. Excellent. And there's a bunch. Like, there's so many, and you find so many in what you do. Red Room Poetry is a really cool one if you're really into poetry. I don't have on there. I'm missing one.
I know you have some events here too. There's like the Ruckus Slam and the
God
Slam.
If you are a Brisbane poet, go to Ruckus. It is so much fun. I've read there. It's so it's so tongue in cheek. So it's they happen monthly. They usually have a theme, but it's pretty loose. It's first in best dress. So first, I think they take 11 people to sign up on the night. It's like an open mic situation, and it sounds really daunting, but one of the coolest things they do is you get rated by the crowd. You do have a time limit. In dinosaurs. It's so much fun. It's so cool. I had the best time. I read a poem there called Coming, Coming, Gone, and excellent crowd. I would say anyone who's like into a bit of a funny poem or a bit raunchy or a bit saucy or anything like that.
Just go for the fun of it.
I've been a couple times just as a crowd member, and I can easily say some of the best fun I've ever had has been at Ruckus. They do Webem Cabaret Slam, which is really cool. It's probably got more of a production side to it, and it's open to not just like poetry slams. It's like
all kinds of
it's like a talent quest sort of thing. It's really, really, really cool. Other events.
Ray White has done. Sorry, not to cut you off.
Go.
I know Ray White, a Brisbane poet, has just started a thing called Uplift, and every single like poetry submission thingy and event possible in all of Brisbane, and probably wider as well.
Yeah, I would say the moral of the story here is that there is so many to apply to and have a crack at. Obviously there's lots of big ones that are out there, and definitely if you feel that you're up for that and are prepared, go for gold. Maybe it's a goal this year that I'll try and submit to one this year, but they're really cool. And if you can't, I think, my biggest advice, if you can't submit to them, read them, because reading makes your writing better, and the stuff that they publish is really cool and it gives you a taste for it. The other thing is, look out for your competitions. There's the Born Writers Award, which runs biannually. It's really cool. Kelly Darlings does a comp, I think. There's the Hope Prize that was just announced last year.
Oh, yeah.
Julia Gillard was a judge for that. It's really cool. It's open worldwide. I did submit. We did get rejected, but that's fine because that's the competition I entered into last minute. So it's what I deserve.
Yeah. And it's worth just trying. Like, if you have something to submit last minute, just put it in. And just, I know I've done that a lot of, like, even I submitted to the Allen and Unwin one, the QUT, like last like it turned 12 as I pressed submit.
Oh my god.
So it was, yeah, but you know, you just got to submit, otherwise you don't have the opportunity of even getting rejected.
And sometimes you never know, and I think to those who aren't sure about, you know, they don't feel very confident in their work, I would submit. Like, if you're it's submit. The harsh reality of being a writer is you're going to get rejected multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, you learn to live with it, it's fine. But the amazing thing about being a writer is you could get accepted and it could get published.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. And you're not going to get submitted and published if you don't submit. So, yeah, you know, it's sort of like the classic, you know, you miss every shot you don't take. So you sort of have to. So even if you feel, you know, not so confident, still submit. Like, still do it. I can guarantee you, even if your work is amazing, you're going to cop a rejection or two in your career as a writer. And so don't let that hold you back from submitting at all, because it's sort of inevitable. So you may as well go for gold, because then, you know, the ones you do get accepted to, it's like, hell yeah, top of the world.
It's so good. And it makes it feel so much better when you are accepted. You're like, yes. And sometimes sweet. They give you feedback. Sometimes they're like, oh, sorry, this didn't suit us right now. But, you know, they've seen your name. They've seen that you tried this time, you know, that you're interested in their magazine, and you can follow them through different ways and things like that. And it is really good. And honestly, yeah, just submit, do it, put it out there.
It's so worthwhile. It's so cool.
No, it is. And you never know what'll happen, because sometimes you get, like, it's just the time of year where everyone's busy and they haven't got hardly any submissions, and you're going to get in. You never know. Or sometimes it's insane. And sometimes it can just be like a lot of these magazines and events and stuff like that, if they're choosing the pieces, sometimes it's like you can have the most amazing piece ever, but it would ruin the flow of the magazine that you're creating or the event that you're creating, and it just doesn't have a place where it would fit and be comfortable in this body of work that you're creating, which is so hard sometimes. Like, when you are a curator of an event or a curator of a magazine, you have to make it so that your reader has an experience and it's this enjoyment and stuff like that. So sometimes you get this piece that's brilliant, but it just doesn't fit, and it wouldn't feel right to put it in. It's not like...
That's right. Like, there's multiple factors as to why sometimes you get rejected that sometimes have very little to do with the quality of the work that you've put in. Sometimes it's they wanted a stricter following to theme. You know, they might have loved your story. They might be a horror magazine and they're not going to take your story about, you know, sugar and candy canes, etc. Like, you know, like sometimes that's just the reality of it. And like you said, there's a reader experience that's got to be considered. Sometimes they just get hammered with brilliant submissions all in one go. That doesn't mean that yours sucked or like that it was worth less than the others. It just might have been like that little teeny tiny like difference, you know, and that doesn't mean the piece is bad. So I think keep submitting, like, where you can, wherever you can. It's really worthwhile. If you get the opportunity to submit to pieces and they ask, do you want feedback, always say yes. Never hurts. You'll only get better if you do stuff like that. So
no. And as we were saying before, even if it does get rejected, just keep editing it and tinkering it, and then it'll be good for the next submission, which is cool.
And I think it's important to note too, like, not every story you write is going to suit every single publication. There are some stories that are going to be more suited to others. Every publication has their own flavor. And, you know, it's about, you know, you might think that your story is a good fit for this one, but it's actually a way better fit for this other one, and you mightn't even know it. So submit as widely as you can, I think. Pay attention to submission guidelines, read what they're submitting. That'll always give you a really good idea about what they're publishing. I mean, that'll always give you a really good idea about the type of work they're looking for. And yeah, but don't hold back and submit. Make them, if they're not going to publish you, at least make them know your name through submissions.
Yeah, make them read your stuff. Yeah, someone's going to read it. And then try and follow everyone involved in it too, you know, like follow the people that have submitted, follow the editors, you know. You never know what kind of connections you'll find or make through doing those kind of things and just putting yourself out there, which is really cool.
I will mention very quickly, there is a great Instagram page called Write or Die. I would encourage everyone to follow it because they share magazines, they share tips on how to get published. They're really cool. I follow them. The advice they put out is really helpful, I think, especially for people who are unfamiliar with where to go, how to put out their work. Yeah, I think they're a great resource. So yeah, check them out. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, do. And I even know Kill Your Darlings has they have like a how to submit sort of like free video tutorials and things like that, which even just watching that and going through that is really interesting.
Which, one last piece of like major advice as someone who now does like a bit of volunteer editing, and that's read the submission guidelines. Read the submission guidelines. Yes. Make sure if a submission is asking for you to put it in Times New Roman or to put it in, you know, Arial, whatever font, or to indent it or to do whatever, have it double spaced, make sure you do it. There are reasons that they have that there, and sometimes that can be the reason why they won't pick your work. It's not necessarily like the content that turns them off. It could be the fact that it's unprofessional to not follow the submission guidelines. So it might be a pain in the neck having 18 versions of the same story, all with different fonts and spacing. And one's got, you know, double quotation marks, one's got single quotation marks. But do it. It does make a difference. Yeah. So another really big piece of advice. And pages like Kill Your Darlings, they've got really extensive like submission guideline pieces. Nearly every publication will have a submission guideline, and it'll be things like, we want your document in a Word doc, or we want it in PDF. So yeah, just really little teeny tiny things. Do it.
And it'll often be hidden too. Like you need to find it sometimes. Yeah. Like sometimes it won't be like super advertised. And then if it doesn't have a submission guideline too, going to places like, you know, Kill Your Darlings, or even Glass has like a nice submission guideline that's pretty standard. You know, it's like, as you said, it, you know, Times New Roman, 12-point font, double, like whatever. Look at some of those bigger magazines and they will have a very standard guide that if the magazine doesn't have it, follow that.
Yeah, it's good advice. There's an industry standard that starts to emerge. And yeah, I mean, it's a really easy thing to do that just shows that you engaged with the platform, you read the submission guidelines, you didn't just go, whatever, hit send. So it's a really easy thing.
Don't put your name on it because there's a blind process, and that'll just make things easier for the editor. That's
right. So it's really like little thing, but it's a really easy thing to do too. So really big advice.